Egypt and the pyramids. Ra claims to have interacted with ancient Egyptian civilization approximately 11,000 years ago. They appeared as tall, delicate, golden beings and attempted to share the law of one. They helped construct the Great Pyramid using thought alone. The stones were not moved physically, but thought into place. Here, pyramid mystery is solved.
It's great.
Yeah.
Now we know.
The pyramid was designed as a healing and initiation chamber, not a tomb. However, the Egyptians of that time could not grasp the philosophy and the ruling class herded the knowledge, leading Ra to withdraw. Atlantis and Lemuria. Both civilizations existed and fell due to misuse of power and technology. Atlanteans, in particular, became obsessed with service to self practices, leading to their destruction. Maldek, a planet that once existed between Mars and Jupiter. Its inhabitants developed advanced technology but destroyed their world through nuclear war approximately 705,000 years ago. The souls of Maldek, over 2 billion of them, have reincarnated on Earth, carrying karmic baggage that contributes to our species' warlike tendencies. By the way, do you want to hear Carla speaking? All right, where were we?
Where were we, Bonnie?
Yeah, we were.
Somewhere out in the cosmos there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to the part that is super interesting. Ancient history and extraterrestrial influence.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
This is very much Van Daniken territory, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Egypt and the pyramids. Ra claims to have interacted with ancient Egyptian civilization approximately 11,000 years ago. They appeared as tall, delicate, golden beings and attempted to share the law of one. They helped construct the Great Pyramid using thought alone. The stones were not moved physically, but thought into place. Here, pyramid mystery is solved.
It's great.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Yeah. Ra and his homies built pyramid.
Thinking is the best way to construct.
Yeah, move things. Well, actually, monks, I think in China and Tibet, move things with their
Yes.
chant and with their thoughts.
Yes, I believe so.
I think if the video I saw wasn't fake, no, they go to this hill and they like chant and then they meditate and then they move like a heavy object, heavy rocks and stuff like that, upwards,
Wow.
uphill. So it's, I don't know if it's real or fake, but
Or some version of that, because, I mean, well, those pyramids are huge. Would have taken hundreds of years to build them in traditional ways, wouldn't it?
let's just talk now.
It would have taken hundreds of years to build the pyramids in traditional ways.
Yeah. So now we know. The pyramid was designed as a healing and initiation chamber, not a tomb. Well, everybody knows it's not a tomb. It's like there are like a couple of archaeologists that they still believe. Zahi Hamas believes it was a tomb.
But a tomb implies that there was a body in there. And as I know, they haven't found any in
No.
pyramids. But in, well, you know, like...
Why did they call it tomb in the first place then?
Trying to explain its existence, maybe?
Based on what? That's what I mean.
Yeah. Hot air?
Feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I got a gut feeling. It's a tomb.
Sure.
And they call it tomb for the next 100 years. However, the Egyptians of that time could not grasp the philosophy and the ruling class herded the knowledge, leading Ra to withdraw. It's like, oh,
These guys are too dumb, man.
fuck
I'm
all
out of
this.
here.
I'm out. I'm out. Yeah.
Oh, pity.
Yeah. Okay. Akhenaten, the pharaoh who attempted to introduce monotheism, worship of the Aten, was inspired by Ra's teaching. His short lived religious revolution was an attempt to restore the understanding of the one creator. It failed due to the entrenched power of the priest class. This priest class, ruined everything. Yeah, they ruined Christianity. They ruined,
Yes, sure.
not that Christianity was based on, solid ground, but it didn't help either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Atlantis and Lemuria. Both civilizations existed and fell due to misuse of power and technology. Atlanteans, in particular, became obsessed with service to self practices, leading to their destruction. Mm. So don't be selfish, bro. Like, that's all.
Well, you know what? We're there again now.
Mm.
Really concerns me very much that we're right back where Atlantis was. We have these amazing technologies emerging at an ever higher pace. And we have very highly developed intellect, but we don't have the wisdom to back it up.
Mm.
And that if anything scares me at the moment, it's that. We don't need to repeat that. We just don't, but we might.
We need a renaissance.
You bet.
Yeah.
Like now.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, people who are struggling and don't have, like, luxury life or whatever, they're kind of waking up to the fact that, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
But people in top, people in power, even though maybe they're aware of it, they don't want to, like, give up.
Of course.
They
Yeah.
don't want to give it away.
Mm.
They don't want to, like, yeah, okay, I can have less power, less money, or like I can have a smaller piece of pie or whatever. They want more and more.
Yeah.
They don't even, like, they're not satisfied with the amount of wealth that they have. They just want to increase it for some fucked up reason.
Well, that's because when you get stuck up in their head, you have no
Mm.
limits. And, you become a psychopath and a greedy one. But, the Renaissance actually could be very simple. We just get back into balance with head and heart.
Mm.
Then we have a conscience. Then we have integrity. It's I don't think it's any bigger than that. But I think it's happening around us anyway at quite a fast pace.
Yeah, not fast enough, I would say, but yeah.
Well, I would like it to be faster,
Yeah.
but
Okay, Maldek, a planet that once existed between Mars and Jupiter. Its inhabitants developed advanced technology but destroyed their world through nuclear war approximately 705,000 years ago. The souls of Maldek, over 2 billions of them, have reincarnated on Earth, carrying karmic baggage that contributes to our species' warlike tendencies. Mm. So there are 2 billions of them. We are fucked.
Goodness me.
I thought, like, a couple millions or whatever. 2 billions of them.
I don't know about this Maldek, but I'm not surprised. That's true.
I like to dive deeper in this one. By the way, do you want to hear Carla speaking? Because I had it, like, in last episode. I explained the first episode. I explained, like, she speaks very, like, monotone, very slow pace.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it for you guys. Just watch this part.
All right. We can put it in here. Yeah, sure.
I am Ra. I have not spoken through this instrument. We had to wait until she was precisely tuned as we send a narrow band vibration. We greet you in the love and in the light of our infinite Creator.
So, Bigfoot. Ha! Yeah, it's getting like, it's not this. It's not gonna disappoint you if you listen to this or read it or however you take it in watching our podcast. Bigfoot. According to Raw, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, is a species from the Maldek planetary sphere, currently working through karmic restitutions and inhabiting deep underground passages. They are part of the complex tapestry of Earth's consciousness. Hmm.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. I've never seen a Bigfoot, not surprisingly.
Neither do I.
I don't think we have any in Sweden, but
No.
nor New Zealand. But I'm very open to the idea that there is something, because it is a myth that, or a legend, whichever you want to say, which appears around the world in different places.
Mm.
You know, I mean, you've got Sasquatch in United States and Canada, and Bigfoot, which is like Himalayas and that area. I got a feeling that Australia might have some similar legend too. You know,
We got Lacerta here.
oh yeah, that's another matter.
Lacerta was in Sweden.
But they're not Bigfoots.
Watch Lacerta interview here. Watch Lacerta files if you wanna. If you're interested, yeah. If you wanna know who Lacerta is. All right. So here the law of one attempt to explain the nature of the reality.
Okay.
The nature of reality. Time and space versus space and time. Ra makes a distinction between our ordinary experience of space and time, the physical universe, and time and space, the metaphysical realm, often called the inner planes. In time and space, causes precede effects, and learning occurs through direct experience rather than linear progression. Okay, so it's not linear progression, but it's direct experience. So what's the difference between these two?
I don't get that.
Causes precede effects, and learning occurs through direct experience rather than linear progression.
Well, we can say linear progression is what we experience here. For example, we've been making this podcast for a little while, and that's linear progression, obviously. But the direct experience thing, no, I don't get that. But we don't have to get everything either.
Maybe direct experience is more like having access directly to whatever you want to experience.
Okay. Yep.
You don't have to wait.
Yes.
Maybe that can be my interpretation.
That
But
sounds reasonable.
yeah, right. So it's different anyway.
I can say something on that. That, as you know, I do a bit of work in other dimensions, and the time just is not there. Things just are. You can't even really say things happen because it's all there at once. Everything. That's really hard to bring to here and now, but that's how it seems to be. So that's probably what he's talking about.
Yeah. Okay. The higher self, which is the most important one, I guess, after the influence of extraterrestrial. The sixth density version of ourselves, looking back and guiding our evolution. Well, I like this perspective that it's all happening simultaneously. So it's not like we're here and then that we have to experience linear time to be able to get there. We're already there.
In the next dimension, absolutely.
Yeah, that resonates with me, fully.
Past, present, future does not is not there. It's just now, you could say.
Yeah, that
Mm.
makes sense. The future you or the higher self, whatever you want to call it, is already there. It's happened.
Yeah.
So it's kind of trying to connect or guide you or whatever. That's a nice gesture.
Yes. But I want to say
Yeah.
on that, Mani, it's probably not good to dwell on that too much. I've really tried to put together this reality here with the one we're describing,
Mm.
and you really can't.
No.
It's better just to accept that it's not like this and leave it for that for now. We'll understand it better when we move on.
Well, one thing I do now, I try to send message to my past self,
Okay.
even though I know in details what happened. I'm trying to like guide myself from time to time, not always.
Good. Yeah. Excellent.
So it's like I don't know. I want to like find a crack in the quantum time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like let myself know. Okay, yeah, that was the stupid decision, or like don't do that or do this. You know what I mean? Just to like, I think it's energy, it's frequencies. You can. There is no boundary for frequency and energy
Mm.
feelings. It
Yeah.
cross time and space and it goes. So I think I kind of like guide myself, the future
Yes.
me, guide myself to be here right now.
I-
And
Yeah.
I don't know, this is stupid, but I'm
That's
trying
not
to pass it
stupid.
on.
No. I would like to share something along that line.
Mm,
When I was sort of 13 to 15 years old, amongst other things, I was studying Latin, which I had huge problem with.
mm,
I wanted to do it. I needed to, but for my work, but it was tough, and I got bored regularly. And I remember one class, I was really conscious that I was watching myself from when I was 40. Then I was 13, 14. I thought, oh, wow. I don't know how I knew, but I could kind of see myself. But the 40-year-old me was saying to the 13, 14-year-old, you keep going with this. This will take you to the right place.
mm.
I thought, oh, great, thanks. Yeah, so I did. And I did quite well in Latin after that. I mean, just Latin wasn't the only thing. It was getting through my studies because I wanted to get on with life and this bloody intellectual stuff. God. So, I mean, I must, and yeah, then when I was 40, I remembered what I did to the 13, 14-year-old.
Huh.
And I connected back to it, you know. So yeah, that's, I don't know how that happened, but that's what I hear you saying too. That,
Well,
you know,
mine was a lot more subtle.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see myself, or like it's just like it's just a gut feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, that's just the same, you know, in a different form.
All right. The higher self exists outside of time and can assist us in making choices aligned with our soul's purpose. It's not separate from us. It is our future self. Cool. Show me a
Exactly what we're
sign.
talking about, isn't it? Yeah.
Send me a sign. Yeah.
That's really, I love that.
Mm.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt to be open to it. Open to the
No,
idea
no.
that, yeah, you might receive guidance from your higher self.
Well, it means being open to the concept that in the next dimension, our time does not exist as we know it, linear time. Yeah.
Or there is some guidance out there,
Yeah,
to guide you to find your way,
of course.
to
And-
evolve, to get better, to be a better person overall.
But just not just that, but we all have, as you know, guided teachers, other beings that are there to give us wisdom and support if we should need it. Each and every one of us, yeah, as well as our own self.
Because religions, I know you can get guidance from religion. ideologies or whatever, but it always, has a string attached to it. Like,
Yeah.
you should submit your rights, submit your will. You barely have.
Yeah, well, that's just a control system.
I
So,
know,
yeah.
and that's the thing that like.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I don't think about like, oh, go out do crime or rape or whatever just because I'm not religious. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course.
And people who don't do these things because their religion prohibit them from doing them. Then okay, you stay religious, But if you're, adult and you're conscious enough to know, like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm try to be harmless to
Yeah.
others and to myself as best I can, and do my best. If I can help someone, I will.
Of
If I
course.
can, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
hurt anybody.
Right.
That's just basic, normal. You don't have to
Yeah.
be like,
Just be a good, decent
hero
human being.
or like. I don't think I need religion for that matter.
No,
Mm.
but I fully respect that those that do. you know,
Yeah.
and-
To
but
each his own. Like,
yeah.
do you do you? If
Yeah.
if the religion gives you those, qualities,
Yeah,
so be it.
but it's not the only way. Mm.
No,
Yes,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. Free will. Haha. Yeah, that's why the next one is the reason
Oh, here
for
we go. into
all
it.
this bullshit that we are experiencing, and we think like, oh no, this is life, this is reality. No, it's just a game. Like, as sooner as you recognize this is a game
Well, of course it is.
that you choose to play,
Yeah,
the better off you are.
yeah.
It's like
I agree.
it changes everything, and anxiety go away. It's just like constant struggle. Like, oh, this bills. Oh, fuck, man, career, this, that, love life, family. It all fade away.
Yes.
Not like you don't care about anything, but like you understand. Like, okay, this isn't the point of this game. It's to learn and to experience, to be present, to be to have this elusive experience. You put the goggle on, you're in this game,
Yes.
and try to take in as much as you can, because you're gonna take off this goggle.
Yes.
And then you will realize, oh, it was all it's temporary. Like, yeah, but when you're in it, it feels like forever thing. Yeah, so it's like there is no the end of this game is end of me, because that's how it feels.
What you're saying to me is important, that seeing it as a game gives a little self-distance from what we're experiencing, and that just that little lesson for me has been such a release, especially when things are a bit tough, but to say, yeah, okay, the old saying, even this will pass too. That's good.
Yeah.
Whether it's a nice time
That
or
shall
not so
pass.
nice. Yeah. All right, let's see what they've got.
Okay,
more to say.
free will, the most sacred principle in the cosmos. Even the Confederation cannot violate free will. They may only offer information to those who ask. This is why channeled material exists, but does not overwhelm humanity with obvious proof.
Absolutely. So here, this is how our guided teachers work. They will not interfere with you. Actually, I'll back up on that one.
Isn't it a little cap out?
No.
To say like, okay, we're not gonna. There is no like discovery kind of proof.
Well, they're not interested. Why should they have to prove themselves? There's no point.
No, not to prove themselves. To prove that there's something beyond our understanding.
Yeah. Well, I have one incident when there was some interference, and I'm very grateful for it. And it happened out in Vamdo, where I live, driving home, quite an icy sort of winter evening. I was just sort of driving at a normal pace in the dark, and I felt myself slam my foot on the brake really hard. So the car stopped. And maybe a second later, a moose walked right in front of the car.
Mm.
And if I hadn't have braked, I would have absolutely hit it because it was just like a few meters in front of where I stopped.
Okay, that's divine intervention, but
That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
thinking
yeah.
more in terms of like give us a fact that we don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, they do.
let's say
Of course they do all the time. If you want them to.
scientific facts or like, you know, some type of discovery
Yeah,
in
but
terms
where do
of
you
like
think they come from?
explains so many
Yeah.
unanswered questions that we have. I mean, I think AI will do that for us in the future, but like something like
Yeah.
I'm talking about channelers. I'm talking about people who
Yeah,
are
me too.
channeling.
But that's how that's where Einstein and Tesla got all their
Mm,
information from.
mm,
It's just this that we're talking about. So yeah, it's true. That happens all the time. Not only scientific things, but like music. Apparently, when Mozart was composing, he just heard the music and wrote it down.
mm,
You know, it was just there. There was no thinking backwards and forwards. You'd get the whole thing, and you know, I don't know if you played it first and wrote it down, but you know, it's direct channel. So that happens all the time. That's the whole purpose of these guys. You know, so yeah, very much, and that's for any of us to do that.
mm,
My experience of that was when I was designing gardens. I'd do all the layout of the shape of the garden and the house, and I know what was wanted by the client. And I'd take a little nap for 5 minutes, and nearly always I wake up. Oh yeah, of course we can do this, and blah blah blah. The whole picture comes to me,
mm.
and that's where it came from. You know,
You were downloading.
you're downloading it, yeah.
Mm,
And I'm currently presenting a series of courses for Shen Foundation. That's what I do with them too.
mm,
In fact, the 2 courses I'm working with now are not my idea at all. They came from guided teachers. They said, look, why don't you present to humanity this course? One of them's called Inner Sanctuary, and it's to help people learn to cope with these extremely stressful times by creating a calm inner place. It's not my idea at all. My input is the details, you know, like what time we start and blah 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 blah. But the ideas download directly.
Cool.
And nothing special with me. It's just technique. All
right.
So I would strongly encourage our followers to check that one out. You know, because why not? To me, it's a wasted source of wisdom and inspiration, you know, that all of us can benefit from. And I feel in the future we will need to do that, you know, to get through the big changes coming our way. We need to have an inner guidance that we can trust our own beliefs, our own system, rather than coming from outside of us. We better move on. I'm starting to preach here.
No,
move
worries.
on.
No, but this is the nature of reality. That's how the raw explain the nature of reality.
Yeah, very much.
These are 3 aspects: time and space, the higher self, and free will. But these are the most important one.
The free will one is so important.
A and Z. Yeah.
And I would like to say that anytime any channeling comes through, we're ordering people to do this and that. Wrong number, guys. Sorry, hang up.
Oh.
It does happen. Yeah. Oh, no, I mean, it can happen. Yeah. Oh, and look what's coming.
Yeah, okay. Now we're gonna check the debunkers case.
Good. This is important.
We're gonna see what debunkers, what case they made against this book.
Good.
The debunkers case. The human hand behind the revelation. The first point they have is the channeling problem. The trust issue. The skeptic forum discussion captures the core problem. I do not trust channelers at all. Boo-hoo. Get on with it. I used to have an awesome documentary made by former channelers claiming that after all they did, they finally realized the entities they channeled were all demonic.
Well, if you believe in demons,
Hmm.
hmm?
Not all demons are bad. Yeah, if you believe in demons.
Well, if you're a skeptic, why would you believe in demons in the first place?
Yeah.
I-
Good
I'm
point,
be-
actually. What kind of skeptic are you?
Yeah, come on now.
Yeah. The dissociation explanation. Charlotte E. Dean at the University of Hertfordshire, who has studied paranormal belief systems, suggests that channeling could be related to dissociation. Individuals who are prone to dissociation often become absorbed in task or situation and may experience some sensations of detachment from themselves or the world around them. These channeling and dissociative experiences have also been associated with aspects of cognition, such as heightened suggestibility, fantasy pronouns, and susceptibility to false memories.
I'm sorry, Marnie, but I don't understand a word of that. I seriously don't.
Yeah.
See, to me,
Well, the heightened suggestibility is that they like, open to whatever their mind, their subconscious
Yeah,
suggests to them.
Right.
That's the fantasy pronouns, like they have a active imagination, I guess.
yeah,
Like
okay.
they pretend, or not they pretend, they can imagine things, or they can have imaginary friends or imaginary entity that they're channeling,
Mm.
and the susceptibility to false memories, like create false memories.
Okay.
I understand the words, but it's easy. That's what I mean. I hate to be a skeptic. It's
It's
easy to
hard
shit on
work.
things. Like
Yeah.
it's really hard to make a case for something when you wanna prove it. But to just shit all over it, it doesn't take that much skills.
No,
You can just say as as it started, like
it's
the
fake
trust issue.
news. Yeah,
I
fake
just
news.
don't believe you.
Yeah.
How are you gonna? What are you gonna do about it?
In,
I just
in
don't
that case, I
believe
would
you.
say, so what?
Yeah, exactly. But like
Mm.
it's like if you understand that you don't need to believe it.
Yeah.
Just hear out and see what part of it can be useful to you.
Mm.
You know?
I want to say two things on this.
Mm.
First of all, people, I'm nothing against skeptics. It's so important to kind of even things out, as it were. But our skeptical nature is just purely related to intellect. And when we're talking about channeling, it's something that it's nothing to do with the intellect. It's from our feeling side, from the heart, if you like. And you're never ever going to prove anything in an intellectual way with something that's not intellectual.
I think even it's intellectually false to have that kind of perception. Like that approach is like just I can shit on everything. I can shit on all the facts.
Yeah,
Of
of course,
if I want to, it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The earth is flat.
Mm.
Prove me wrong. Send me to space.
I know.
Let me see it from outer space. Then I will agree with you.
The other
know
thing,
what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But the other aspect I want to talk about here, because we're talking about channeling, channeling is one of the fundaments of my life. I mean, I'm doing it all the time, every day. So I do know a little bit about that, but I also know that unless you are really experienced in keeping your energy to a high level, it's so easy for a beginner to get the wrong number, as it were, and can maybe tune into an entity who might not have the best intentions in the world, might want to create confusion. And so the poor old channelers doing it with thinking they're doing a great job, but they got the wrong number. That makes me a little not skeptical, but I'm a little cautious with channelers who come with great dramatic news and this will happen and that. You know,
I think I asked you before, what do you think about Bashar?
I don't really know, quite honestly, excepting that this person seems to need a lot of attention.
Mm,
So that makes me sort of
suspicious.
wonder, you know.
Mm,
But I don't. I honestly haven't listened in great detail to what Bashar says. I have listened, but and also anyone that says that the future events are an absolute certainty, then I get a little bit nervous because I don't think that anything is a certainty. Well, it's been proven so. It might be a possibility or a probability, but it's never an absolute certainty.
Maybe he's just trying to guide us to that
Yeah, maybe
timeline, that
could
possibility.
be. Yeah. So I'm not saying for or against Bashar because I don't really have the knowledge to know that. But anyone, I'm always just a little.
So your gut feeling is that Bashar is.
I get the feeling they might like a lot of attention. Either the channeler or the entity. I'm not sure which. Well, that's just my own little tiny personal opinion, which I haven't put much energy into.
Okay, the fraud question. Professor of psychology Ray Hyman noted in a 1986 LA Times article that approximately 95% of channelers are not conscious frauds. They genuinely believe they are channeling. This makes the phenomenon psychologically interesting, but not evidence of supernatural contact. What is it then? I hate these people who play in the middle. It's like, no, they really believe they're channeling, but like there is no proof like they are channeling. It's like, okay, thank you for nothing.
And no proof that they're not.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Arnie. It's
Here's the thing. Like I always think, like, okay, what is it? Forget about where it comes from or who says it. What is it that they say? And if something is like, oh, okay, yeah, that's interesting. That can work for me. I can think like that, or like bullshit. It doesn't matter if it's like, I don't know, says it in Bible or says it in the Law of One or in a like a children book. As long as it resonates and it feels like, oh, yeah, my gut feeling is that, yeah, this works for me, or yeah, this sits well with my beliefs.
So we could think about it that don't worry about the channelers for now, but the beings that are being channeled, presumably they are giving evidence, giving us wisdom to help us move on, to help us evolve better. And they could have done it also if they manifested with physical body, but are choosing to do it through another being for whatever reasons, I don't know.
Like for whatever reason, okay, I'm just gonna, because we talk about the problem with the channeling problem, so I'm just gonna say, okay, from what we covered already, like knowing there is a higher self, your higher self is out there trying to guide you. I think it's a nice gesture, nice idea to have, and you feel like, I don't know, supported or guided.
Yeah.
Even though you don't have to, like, go sit down and listen or, do anything crazy. But just to know, like, this isn't all, it's not it. There's a lot more. That gives you, put things in perspective for you.
Yeah. I would like to say with channeling, learn to do it yourself. Then you don't have to trust anyone else or be skeptical. You know if it's working or not. And it's not a special gift. If you go to the gym, you get fat muscles, big muscles. If you train channeling, you get clear channel, you get clear communication. It's no more difficult than that, I promise you. If you're stuck in your head, it's not so easy, but you have to learn to get out of your head.
Yeah, but you have to be open to the idea as well.
Oh, yeah, that helps quite a
To
lot.
start. Yeah. All right. The circular logic. Channeling material often contains a built-in defense. The instructing entity automatically uses the vocabulary and meaning the channel can comprehend. This makes it impossible to falsify. Any human element can be explained as necessary adaptation. You see what I mean? It's like there is nothing like there, like at least with your Entia book, it was like, okay, they didn't mention DNA, and it was because it wasn't discovered back then. Which even that you can explain, like they weren't supposed to. They're not supposed to interfere.
No, exactly.
Or give us something that we have no concept for. Yeah. All right. Internal inconsistencies and scientific problems. Now we're talking. The Maldek problem. Ra claims a planet between Mars and Jupiter was destroyed 705,000 years ago. However, the asteroid belt contains nowhere near enough mass to account for a destroyed planet. It's estimated at only 4% of the moon's mass. The standard scientific explanation is that Jupiter's gravity prevented the planet from forming there, not that one was destroyed.
I don't have any ability to comment on that.
No, but the only thing I'm thinking, like, we haven't been even around Jupiter,
No.
So, like, it's good to have, if it's good to be humble enough.
Yes.
To know we're guessing.
Yeah.
And with modern science, everything is like it's a silly guesswork. We haven't been that far. Yeah, we sent probes or whatever, but to measure everything, like to the dot, I don't think we're capable. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't. I have no clue what I'm talking about, but. Not that I want to defend what they say, but it's like it's still vague. Yeah, the gravity is like, yeah, it's like it prevents from forming, not destroying or whatever. It's like if something got destroyed or something like a force that we haven't calculated happen on the planet, that it's like it shakes up the solar system. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
It went out of orbit of like Jupiter or whatever. How can you explain that? That's what I mean. It's like it's very easy to just say like no, but with the current position of Jupiter and the amount of gravity that it has, it's impossible. You know what I mean? It's like it says 705,000 years ago. How can you estimate anything with that time window?
Yeah.
Like where Jupiter was positioned.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same position. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass, but
yeah, I understand.
I like to do. I like to talk out of my ass.
I'm pretty sure something has happened on Mars, though. I don't say it was nuclear, but something happened to destroy their atmosphere. Yeah. Okay.
All right. The pyramid chronology. Ra's timeline for the pyramid is widely inconsistent. They claim to have begun thinking about pyramid design around 6500 BCE, then constructed the Great Pyramid around 4000 BCE, over 1000 years before mainstream archaeology dates it. They also claim to have mainstream archaeology. Fuck mainstream archaeology.
Yeah, who cares?
They also claim to have interacted with Egypt for 1,500 years. Yet, the historical record shows no evidence of such intervention.
I reckon the whole pyramid thing's too unknown. There's so many theories, so many ideas that instinctively I feel that they're extremely old, much older than any of these dates, but I can't prove that or know better than anyone else, actually.
Well, the evidence that mainstream archaeology has for the dating of pyramid is so vague and so weak.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I think we should leave that one alone.
yeah, this is the weakest,
Yeah.
critic, I would say. The speed of light claim. I didn't know they had a speed of light claim, but okay. Raw states that craft from the Confederation can travel at approximately one half of the light speed due to imperfections in design. This raises obvious questions. If beings of sixth density can manipulate consciousness and reality, why are they limited by the speed of light? And why would a social memory complex need physical craft at all?
Well, I'm not sure they all do.
Hmm.
Well, I know the ones that I sort of work with mainly don't have any craft. They don't even have bodies.
Maybe they want to send goodies to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
But I would like to comment there that we have to remember that there are endless types of beings and from endless different dimensions and possibilities. I don't think you should focus in on one saying anything, yeah, that's not right.
Mm.
I think we need to keep the concept that anything's possible,
Mm.
and of course, not everyone's going to get everything right. So if they've got imperfect ships, well, yeah, that may be.
Maybe that's the only mean that they can enter the third dimension in a physical way.
Yeah.
Mm. The Nazca Lines issue. When asked about the Nazca Lines, Raw claims they are faint traces of what used to be there, implying larger structures. Mainstream archaeology holds they were created by moving surface rocks to reveal lighter soil beneath. There is no evidence of larger structures. Mm.
No, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still like, what if it was?
Yeah.
What if it was larger structures and that's the, leftover? That's the remaining part. Who knows?
I don't. Yeah.
Neither do I, but I like to speculate.
Yeah. Yeah.
The harvest timeline. Raw placed the harvest around 2011. When that date passed without obvious planetary transformation, followers had to reinterpret perhaps the harvest is ongoing, perhaps it's internal, perhaps our perception of time is limited. This flexibility makes the prophecy unfalsifiable, but also undermines its predictive power. Well, something happened in 2012
Something happened. Yeah.
and end of 2011, 2012. I believe something happened. There were like so many different points. Even what was it? The interview with that guy. Who was it? We covered it in our channel. If you want to watch it here. Bill Wood. Yeah. They hit the wall in 2012 for some whatever reason. They couldn't predict further than 2012. What I'm thinking is that something happened. All the predictions, maybe it was the harvest or reset. They reset the simulation or this reality or whatever we experience, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. It like you said, it might not have been a physical thing, an energy change or something.
Or our timeline branches out.
Yeah.
to and that's why all these Mandela effects are, shown up.
That's right. Yeah.
People remember things differently because
I can't actually even remember 2012 being anything significant, but I do agree with you that I have a feeling that there was some change in the energy or something.
I remember the night that was the New Year's Eve. I was like thinking, like, okay, I don't mind if I don't wake up tomorrow. The war is over.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that feeling. I
All
wasn't
right.
in a good place, but yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
All right. So I believe something happened. Maybe not harvest or like the big change that is like, is in your eyes, you cannot deny, but something happened.
Well, I know something happened on the 18th of December last year too.
Mm,
I experienced it.
mm,
So, I mean, in the energy of the planet.
mm.
So it could well have happened 2012 too. Yeah, absolutely.
The Oahspe connection and source material. As Rational Wiki notes, Don Elkins had read the 1882 book Oahspe, and the raw questions and answers show that the SDO versus STS concept builds on ideas from that earlier work. So that the Oahspe book, maybe we should cover that book too.
Okay.
Comment if you like us to cover
Mhm.
that book as well. But apparently it's very similar. So the Oahspe connection. The parallels both Oahspe and the law of one describe. A hierarchical universe with delegated governance, fallen or negative entities influencing humanity, a cyclical view of history with periodic harvest or resets. Well, I don't think, this is like a point that I really believe.
No, I don't
Harvest,
either.
and uh, I didn't read this text, so I
Mm.
just come up with the reset
Yeah.
myself. But harvest and reset is the same fucking thing.
Mm.
Like when you harvest, you reset the field,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the end of the process. So it is the reset.
Yes.
So harvest and reset is practically the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, the importance of service versus selfishness. Hmm? Extraterrestrial involvement in ancient civilizations. Well, that concept has been fucking from Egyptian
That's forever. Yeah.
forward. So
I
yeah.
don't think it's good just to focus on one book saying that because
Yeah,
there's nothing new with any of those
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
but of course you're gonna find similarities between.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
If
but
they're decent texts channeled by previous people, then you're going to find similarities because you cannot be like talk about two different things
yeah.
if they are decent, if they are kind of legit, So of course you're gonna find like, okay,
Mm.
it's a lot similar to this or that. But if anything, it holds more water. If it's on a key points,
Yes.
it's similar.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
agree. Mm.
The circular endorsement. As noted in the Oahspe dossier, Raw endorses Oahspe as authentic. This creates a closed loop. If Raw is authentic, Oahspe is validated. If Oahspe is authentic, Raw is validated. The skeptics see this as self-referential validation rather than independent evidence. The skeptics are assholes.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that
It's-
I agree with this. You know what I
No.
mean? It's like what they pointing out. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, all right. If you don't believe in it, just say I don't believe in it. Why are you like, no, but it's like almost like watching like a movie or whatever, Marvel movie,
Mhm.
and like instead of like appreciating whatever work they've done,
Yeah.
you just say like, no, but in that scene, that little shadow was like not right. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck you. What the fuck did you achieve in your life?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate it. Hate those people, hate those opinions.
Mm.
The 19th century intellectual context. Both Oahspe and the Law of One emerged from specific cultural milieus. Oahspe from Victorian spiritualism and theosophy, the Law of One from 20th century UFO culture, Cold War and anxiety, and the New Age government. Both bear the fingerprints of their time. Well, of course they're gonna bear the fingerprints of their time. When do they supposed to bear the fingerprints from? Like
Yeah.
1,000 years before or after?
Yeah.
It's being channeled for the time being.
Mm. Yes. Oh, that's natural. of
And that's the
course.
thing, like that's a
And
concept that a skeptics trying to, like,
Yeah.
say, like, but if it's this higher entity that is in the higher self, sixth dimension, no time, why do they give you something that it doesn't exist? We don't know. It's not about giving you something new. It's about like reminding you how to deal with the shit that you already know.
It's in front of you. Yeah.
Like you
exactly.
have in
Yeah.
your hand.
Mm.
It's about like teaching you how to fish, not giving you, I don't know, dinosaur or whatever. You know what I mean? Like something
Yes.
like you're looking for unicorn. No, no, no. It's about like how to fish and cook one.
Yes.
That's the
Exactly.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
The B movie problem. The skeptics' favorite detail. Don Elkins and Carla Rueckert had a brief career making grade Z movies in the 1970s, including The Invasion of the Girl Snatchers and The Force Beyond, a UFO themed film. These raises questions like, does participation in low budget UFO exploitation films undermine credibility, or does it simply show that they were engaged with UFO culture in multiple ways, including its more sensationalist expressions?
Mm.